everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today, and before we get started, make sure that you're a member over on my exclusive Facebook group. I'll link it down below and up here in the corner. It is a fun place to get to know other crafters, share your designs and your crafts, and ask your questions. Now in today's video, we are going to be making a really fun snowman magnet project. This is so fun. It's a little snowman building kit. You can make lots of little different styles and mouths and accessories and eyes. And it's a great fun activity that you can do with your kids or your grandkids or heck, even yourself. I am not here to judge you if you want to play with some magnets. This is a really fun project. We're going to be using some Nito sticker paper for this, and you can shop Nito over on Amazon. I'll link it down below. And you can always use code Corinne25 to save 25% anytime you shop with them. And then we're going to be using some magnetic sheets, which are also from Amazon, and I'll link those below. And then our designs are from Creative Fabrica. Now, if you haven't used Creative Fabrica before, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a great website with hundreds of thousands of designs, fonts, and so much more for you to download. And it's such a great place to get lots of great things to use with your Cricut and your other cutting machines. Now, I'm going to offer you a free trial of this, and it gets 10 free downloads. I'll link it down below. But after those 10 free downloads, if you want to keep subscribing, you can save a great deal by using that link below that I'll put down there too, where you can get a subscription, an all-access subscription for just $4.99 a month. It's charged at $59.98 for the entire year. Pay once and you're good for a year. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you how to download these, set everything up, and get ready to cut them out.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
We're going to be using these adorable snowman faces from Creative Fabrica, and I'll link down below where you can get a free trial or where you can sign up for their all-access membership. But we're going to be using these. I'm super excited. I think they're going to turn out really, really cute. So what I'm going to do is click download, and it's going to bring up a folder and ask me where I want to save it. So for me, I save it into my Cricut folder, and for my own sanity, I am going to just save this in for videos only, and then I'm just going to click save. Then I need to open up that folder, which is a zipped folder, and I need to extract those files. So what I'm going to do is click extract all and then click extract. Now from here, it's going to go ahead and extract. There's a lot of files in this because they do offer us multiple versions of those files. I'm going to close the zipped folder. Now I'm never going to use the DXF files, so I'm just going to delete those right off the bat. The same with the EPS. It's not a file that I use, so I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Now with this, you could use the SVG or the PNG. So you can see here we have all of our little faces in PNG format, but we also have the SVG option. So I'm going to show you the two ways to do it, whether you want to use the PNG or the SVG. Either one will work. So let's head over to Design Space and let's get started. Over in Design Space, I'm going to click Upload, and then I'm going to choose Upload Image. And from here, I can either browse for that image or I can just pull up the folder that I left open. Now, like I said, we can use PNG or SVG, so let's start with a PNG first, and we'll just take Snowman Face 1, and we're going to go ahead and insert that into Design Space. So now you see you have your little snowman face with all his little pieces, parts, and I'm going to choose Complex and then click Continue. I don't have to do anything here because it's a PNG and the background is already removed, so just click Apply and Continue. And then you want to save it as this print then cut image because we're going to be using this with magnet sheets and we're printing and cutting. So go ahead and click Upload. Now I'll show you how to do it with an SVG, so I'm going to click Upload Image. I'm going to do the same thing and pull up the folder, but this time I'm going to go back and choose the SVG, and we'll use Snowman Face 2. Go ahead and upload that. Now you're going to notice with the SVG, it looks pretty much the same. There's no real difference, and then I'm going to click Upload. Now I'm just going to start with these two to show you why they're a little bit different. So I'm going to select both of them and add those to the canvas. And once those are loaded, you're going to see a little bit of a difference between the two, especially over in our Layers panel. So let me scooch these over, and I'm just going to size this guy down a little bit so that he fits better. So one thing I want you to notice is that this guy is all just one single layer. We're not going to be able to move his pieces around. This one, however, is several layers, so we'll be able to ungroup him. That way we can save some vinyl or some magnet sheets depending on how you want to do this. So I personally would recommend using the SVGs for this, and not the PNG, but you can absolutely do that if that's what you prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy, and I'm going to go ahead and finish uploading a bunch of the other SVGs, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to cut these out, because a lot of them have like similar parts. So we're going to delete some things that are similar. That way we kind of have a good variety of pieces and parts to play with once we're ready to put these on to our magnet sheet. Now that I've uploaded all of the faces, you can see most of them here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to view all my recent uploads just to make sure that I'm going to get all of the parts that I have. So all I'm going to do is click each one and add them to the canvas. So I'm just clicking each guy or girl, whichever, and adding them to the canvas here. So I have quite a few pieces, and there are a lot of like doubles. Like we have tons of the same carrot nose and a lot of similar eyes. So I'm going to show you how we kind of combat that so that you don't have so many of the same thing, because you're not really going to need it. So I'm going to view my canvas here, and there's a lot of layers, a lot of stuff. So we're going to give it a minute to load so that we can kind of make sense of everything that's on here. Now you've got, like I said, you've got tons and tons of pieces. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull one design over. This might actually be the one I ungrouped earlier, so we'll just kind of scooch him to the side. He's fine. But most of them should be grouped. So what I want to do is I'm just going to keep a couple of carrots, because some of them are slightly different, but they're not like all exactly the same. They're all angled differently, which is not going to matter because you're going to be able to change the angle. But I do just want to keep a couple of carrots. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to ungroup all my designs, because then I can just pull them apart. We don't need to keep them all together. There's no reason to. So I'm just going to go through and ungroup a few things. And I'm actually going to do a couple different things. First thing I'm going to do is take all the eyeballs, and I'm just going to put them in a pile. This is just for me and my own sanity and the way that I like to do it. And then I'm going to put the noses in a pile and the mouths in a pile. And by doing this, it's going to allow me to make sure that I have different items of each thing instead of the same item. Now you're going to run into a few items here where, like this one, for example, his mouth is a lot of pieces. So what I'm going to show you is a quick little trick. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup. I'm going to move his eyes into my eye pile. I'm going to move his nose into my nose pile. And then I want to select his mouth, and I'm going to make sure all the pieces are selected. I missed a piece. Make sure all the pieces are selected. I'm going to go ahead and combine them, and I'm going to weld them so they all become one single layer, and they're not going to move around or anything, because we're going to need to do some work on those as well as like other pieces to make this work out. Now we do have some that have little accessories, so I'll make a pile for those accessories as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just ungroup everything. I'm going to do this really quickly, and you'll see that here this bow has that same issue where it is multiple pieces. So I'm just going to do a quick little weld before I move it over into the pile of accessories. So just take your time, do this part really quickly, get this done, and then I will show you our next step. Now that we've gotten all our pieces and parts pulled apart, first thing I'm going to do is pull these carrots over, because like I said, we don't need 11 million carrots. You only need a couple of carrots, and honestly, we definitely don't need this many. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete some of like the smaller ones. I'm probably only going to keep about 3 carrots, and I'm going to do like one this size, and then we'll do kind of this bigger one, and then we'll see, that one's probably the same size, but we'll just kind of pick a couple of carrots to keep. I would recommend having some different sizes. That way, you know, when you're making your snowman, you've got some options. But honestly, you don't have to do anything too crazy. Like I'm going to make a bigger carrot. There we go. We got all our carrots we need. So I'm going to delete all the other carrots. You don't need that many. Now you could obviously do that if you want to, but you're not going to have 18 different snowmen. So I would just highly recommend just a couple carrots. Now here we have all of our mouths. So I'm going to go through and kind of pull the mouths apart, and we can keep ones we want and delete ones we don't. So there are some that are kind of similar, and like this one, I just don't like it and I don't think it really works. So I'm going to delete that one. I would kind of like to just delete these ones, but I'm going to keep one to show you how to do them if you want to keep those style mouths. But then we have all these other different styles, so I'm just pulling them apart to see if we have any that are so similar that I really don't need to keep them. But I think a lot of the mouths were pretty different, though these two are pretty much the same. So I'm going to get rid of this one, and then this one's pretty similar as well, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. And so I'm just kind of going through and pulling out anything I think that's like too similar to any of the other ones. Like these two are basically the same, so I'm going to delete that one as well. So you've got quite a few mouths to choose from, and we'll come back to the mouths in a few minutes because I'm going to show you how to kind of split everything apart, keep all the pieces and parts that you want, and then what we'll do is I'll show you how we make sure that they print really well, because you want to make sure that everything stays together. Now we've got the big mass of eyes, and there are like a lot of them. And if something like that happens where you accidentally grab a bounding box, don't touch anything else, just click undo and it'll put it back the way you had it. That's one of the things with Design Space, that occasionally you'll grab something you don't mean to and it will end up like a big mess. So now what I'm going to do is pull the eyes apart, and I'm going to try to kind of keep like similar styled eyes together. So like these round circly ones, I'm going to keep those all together. These eyelash ones we'll put kind of together. And that way we can figure out like if we have some that are so similar that we can just get rid of the extra of them, because honestly we don't need to keep so many eyeballs that you're gonna be overwhelmed with all these little pieces, because there's honestly no point. Again, you're not gonna have 18 different snowmen. Again, you can do it, but I personally would not. So all I'm doing here is just kind of pulling these apart and putting them together. Now I could have kept them together when I did the other one where I took everything apart, but that didn't seem like a fun time to me. I'd rather kind of pull them apart like this just to see what I have. It helps me visualize it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling all of my eyes apart just to figure out what I've got, and then we can delete ones that we don't want to keep. All right, I've got everything pretty well pulled apart. So you can see we have a lot of similar eyes that we really don't necessarily need to keep. So one thing I will say is kind of go through and figure out, what eyes do you like? What eyes do you want? This one's cute. It goes with one of these winky ones, but you could always double this one up if you want to and make two of them so you have a matching pair. Same with this one. This actually goes with this wink, so you can, again, double these up if you want to and just flip them so that you have a pair. I'm going to go ahead and delete one of these, and I'm just going to keep one set with these eyelashes because I think that's fine, and I'm going to get rid of the smaller set. I'm going to move these to the side because we're going to keep them. I do want to do one set of these oval shaped ones, so I'm going to move those over to the side, and then I'm going to just delete the rest of these because we don't need that many oval eyes. Now I'm going to do a couple sets of these round ones, so I'm going to keep these ones and these ones, and then I'm going to do one more set. I'm going to take these two, and I'm actually going to resize these so they're a little bit bigger, just so that we have like a slightly larger set. I'm going to keep these ones with the eyelashes and these ones with the eyelashes. And then I also want to keep these little winky ones here. And then I'm going to get rid of the plain hearts, and I'm just going to keep these hearts. So we can get rid of all the rest of these eyeballs over here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete. Now we've got all our eyes set, we've got all of that, and then we have all of our little accessories. So once we've got kind of everything whittled down to what we really want to keep and what we want to get rid of, we can start making this easier for our Cricut to cut them out. So what I'm going to do is add an offset. Now by adding an offset, it's going to create a little bit of an edge so that when it cuts these out, it's not going to cut these really thin lines. It's going to make them a little more sturdy, especially for little hands if this is something you want for your kids. But it's also just going to make it easier for the Cricut to handle the cuts. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one item and I'm going to click offset. Now I don't want to do a really, really big offset. Let me move this over actually so you can see this better. So I don't want to use a really big offset because I don't want it to be huge around my design because it is going to be white. So I'm just going to size it down a little bit and kind of figure out about where it goes to where it doesn't have like huge notches in it. So there's little notches. So about 0.111 should be good. So I'm going to click apply. Now my offset's going to default to black, but I want it to be white. And then I want to select the caret and the offset. So whatever item you're doing and your offset, you want to select those and you want to choose flatten. You'll notice that it looks like your offset goes away, but if I put it over colored stuff, you can see it's still there. And that is going to be where it cuts around. So I want to do that for all of my items. Now with my eyeballs, let me change the background color here of our canvas so that you can see this way better. So you can see our eye here, and these little holes in here are going to cut out. But I'm going to go ahead and add the offset, and you'll see here that it's going to take a second to add. Now, we want to go with a 0.11 offset, I believe, but we're going to go ahead and see how that looks. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and apply it. But what you're going to notice is you have a little hole here. I want you to select the offset, go to contour, and just click on that little hole to remove it. And now when you do it, your eyeball will be like a white rounded eye. Then select both items and again, just flatten them. Now this is gonna be a bit of a tedious task if you're doing a lot of pieces. So just take your time. Now I'll do one of the accessories so that you can get an idea on that one. Because again, you're gonna need to offset it or it's just not going to work correctly. It's not going to cut. It's going to cut every individual piece. Now for something like this, if you don't want to do a white offset, I would actually leave this as black. I just think it looks nice, but you could do white if you want to. There it is with a white one, but I think for this one, I'm going to leave it as black because I just think I like the look of it a little bit better. So I'm going to select it and then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it. I'm gonna move that over to the side and I'll do the Santa hat really quick so you can see that as well. So if I do the offset on that and apply, I think this one I would also leave black because of the white around the like pom-pom and the brim of the hat. So again, you wanna select both of your items and flatten them. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish all of these items up. I'm gonna get everything with their offsets and flattened. And then from there, we can go ahead and get everything ready to be cut out. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well. It's really easy. I want to make sure I show you the circle mouth so that you can see how I'm going to do this one. So this is going to be a larger offset because I need to make sure all the circles touch. So the 11 or the 0.111 isn't going to really work. So I do need to make this just a bit larger. You can kind of do it however you want. You can make it really big, you can make it small, but I always recommend making sure everything touches. Then I'm going to click apply, and then again, I'm just going to change this to white, and then I'm going to select all and flatten. But now when it cuts it out, instead of cutting around each an individual dot so that you have a whole bunch of these dots, you're going to be able to have just this mouth. So it's just an option for you if you want to use the circle mouth. This one's going to be similar where I'm going to need to make it back to the 0.111. I'm going to click apply and then I'm going to have to use contour here to contour out that spot. But again, I'm going to get everything finished. I'll come back and then we can finish this up and show you how to print these out. I piled everything up while I was doing the offsets and everything. But you can definitely resize stuff because right now, if I click make it, it's going to take a ton of pages to print all this out and a lot of magnet sheets because I don't use printable magnet sheets. My printer doesn't really love them. But what you're going to see, it's going to take a second. But look at this. It's going to take like 6 sheets and something is still not set right. Oh, I missed an eyeball. I'll find that eyeball really quick and I'll fix that. But that eyeball is God knows where. So we'll find it. Not a big deal, but I do recommend making sure that you save your project before you do anything else with it. Is that it? Nope. I don't know. I'm going to find that eyeball. It's probably somewhere in here. You can easily find stuff like that if you just kind of scroll through your layers panel here because you'll see that everything says flatten above it and you're going to find one that doesn't right here. Here's the guy that doesn't. I must have missed flattening him to his offset because his offset's right there. So I'm going to flatten those and fix that problem. Now, one thing you can do is you can absolutely resize everything. Everything's in a relatively small size right now, but you can definitely resize a little bit if you want to. But since I'm just doing this as a tutorial for you guys, I'm just going to choose a couple of items to print out and use for our snowman. And you guys can print out everything that you want to. It's really up to you. So I'm just going to pull out a few pieces, print those out onto our sticker paper, and then from there, I'll show you how you can make your very own little snowman. I've got everything that I'm going to print out. Like I said, I'm just going to print out a couple little pieces for you to show you how to do this. So all I'm going to do now is hit the make button, which it's weird they took the word it out, but whatever. And now you'll see that it fits onto my page that I'm going to print it on. So I'm printing this on a printable sticker paper and then I'll stick it to my magnet. For me, that works better. But if you have printable magnets, cool, go for it. They just don't work real well for me. Now what I'm going to do is click continue and I'm going to send this to my printer to print out. So what I want to do is click send to printer and I'm going to choose the printer that I'm going to use here. And it's going to take a second. Sometimes it takes a second to prepare. I'm going to use my my ET2720, which is an inkjet printer. I'm going to go ahead and leave the bleed on because the black around the scarf, I don't want any of like the white showing past that. Everything else has white around it, so I'm not really worried about it. And then I'm going to use the system dialog. This is going to bring up my printer preferences when I click the word print. It's not going to send it directly to your printer. Then from here, you want to make sure that you select the correct printer, which again is my ET2720, and I'm going to choose preferences. Now on this one, I do change my paper type to premium presentation paper matte, and I change my quality from standard to high. I also go under more options and I turn off high speed print. Now yours might say biodirectional printing. That's basically the same thing. So you want to turn that off to make sure that you get the best quality print. That way you don't have any like lines through your prints or anything like that. Then I'm going to click OK and click print to send it to my printer. This is the magnet sheet I'm using. Under the blue, it is sticky, and then we also use sticker paper. Now, you really don't have to use sticker paper. You could use cardstock, just stick it to your magnet sheet. Do whatever works best for you, but I just used the sticker paper that I had from Nito Labels. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel the backing off, and sometimes it's a little difficult. So having a pin pen can be super handy because you can just peel the back off with the pin pen, because sometimes it is a little harder to get it off. But all you got under there is a super sticky stick. So it's really sticky. The next thing that we need to do is to peel the backing off of our sticker paper. Now with this, I do prefer to just peel off the corner and like just a little bit of the top here. So I kind of don't peel the whole thing. That's what I do. I peel just a bit of it, and then I just peel it down, and then I'm going to fold this over really quick. Then what I do is I want to make sure that all the parts of my snowman are going to be on my magnet. Don't care so much about the registration lines, but I care about the snowman because the magnet sheet is actually a little bit smaller than the print. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll lay it down like this and then peel off the backing. But with this one being a little bit smaller than sometimes that I print, this isn't taking up the whole page, I will just lay this straight down. So what I'll do is I kind of fold it in half, just like so, or you could fold it in half this way, whichever way works best for you. Doesn't matter, do whatever works your way. This does not even have to be straight, to be honest with you, but I just like to kind of make sure that I'm gonna get it on here so that the entirety of my snowman ends up on my magnet. Again, I don't care if it's straight, I don't care if it's like a little cattywampus, does not matter. I just need to make sure that the whole of my snowman gets on there. Now I do have a little bit of a bubble over here, not real worried about it, it's not on my design. Every once in a while I'll get a bubble here and there when I do this, but that's pretty good. It's not perfect. Like I said, it doesn't have to be, you just need to get the paper onto your magnet sheet. Do it however works best for you. Now I'm gonna grab my strong grip mat for this and get this all put down so you can see how that goes. Highly recommend using a strong grip mat when you do this. It's just gonna give you a lot better hold. Now what I wanna make sure I do is I wanna get the top of my sheet. So this part, I wanna make sure that it's at the top of my mat, and I wanna get it really well lined up. You wanna line it up with the top of the mat. You don't want to line up your lines anywhere else, and it's okay if your magnet hangs over a little bit, that's totally fine. Then what you can do is come in with a brayer tool, which is just this little tool. It's like a kind of like a, I don't know, a round steamroller, I guess. And I'd like to go in and press this down with the brayer, because that's going to make sure that it's going to hold really, really well, because this is something that can shift a bit when it's cutting, because we do need to use the deep point blade with it. We do need to make sure that it cuts all the way through, which can be a little difficult with magnets. Now this does use the deep point blade, which is the blade and housing that are black. So you're definitely going to have one of these for your machine. I love using this. So what I'm going to do is change out my blade by just opening clamp B, and I'm just changing the blade to the deep point. I'm cutting this on the 0.6mm magnet sheet setting. Sometimes I do have to run it through twice. It sometimes just kind of depends on the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this read our registration lines. It's gonna cut out our design, and then we'll check the cut when it's done. Once it's done printing, don't unload it just yet, especially if you're not using like the same sheets that I'm using and the same printable that I'm using, because it can cut differently on everyone's machines. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel up my magnet sheet, and I can see that mine cut really, really well. If it hadn't though, so let's just pretend that this didn't cut all the way through. All I needed to do if I want to cut this again is to just hit the Cricut button. So the second button over, the one that has the little C with the antenna, just hit that and it's going to reload and it will cut. The reason you don't unload it to do a second cut is because it will never cut on the exact same line, so it won't actually cut through your material. Now mine cut beautifully, so I'm going to go ahead and unload, and then I'm going to just peel this magnet sheet away. Now I do have some sticker that's on the mat, so that was a little extra sticky, but look at how fun. So these are all our little pieces, and sometimes they do stick pretty well because this is strong grip mat. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll them off just so they don't get ruined, especially like with these like slightly thinner pieces. And then I'm gonna take you guys up to my refrigerator and show you how fun this is. This is just a great little thing that you can make, cute fun activity for your kids. It's a great like clean play, because all it is just some magnets on a refrigerator. So let's head upstairs and I'll show you what these look like. So here's our fun little snowman. As you can see, obviously I put them together, but you can change out the eyes. You can make all the different accessories that you want to, and I just think this is such a fun little thing that you can do with your family. I dropped an eyeball. And this is such a fun activity, really for anybody, but I just think this is simple, it's fun. Look at, change the eyes, change the mouth, and you've got a whole different look. Now again, you can make as many accessories as you want for your snowman. Make multiple noses, make lots of things, make buttons, do whatever you want to do, have fun with it. And this is just a quick and easy thing you can do with your Cricut, and we just used magnet sheets. You can see how easily they come off. Really, really fun, really, really easy. If you have any questions about this or anything else that we do here on the channel, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll link everything that we use to create this down below as well. And don't forget to check out the Creative Fabrica free trial or sign up for their monthly all access. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting!